Hello, hello, hello.
I mean, you're already reaction then being in the.
It's crazy with the people how they can't see it.
Hey guys, another episode, another interview today with Roman Bilinski. We're here at Spa-Francorchamps at the second round of the Frecker 2024. And yeah, I would say we go straight into it. Thank you for your time,
But
Roman.
thank you.
Um, Take us through your first session. I mean, the first one got canceled, but the second one, how was it?
Yeah, second session, well, first actual driving was really good. I finished P2 and positive steps with the car in my driving, so very happy in the end. But we have to see tomorrow the changing conditions. We don't know, but should be interesting.
Mhm. I think tomorrow should be dry, I think, and we had those kind of rain pouring over us. So, um, do you make any changes then on the car because it was looking quite decent?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with the wet to dry, there's big changes, but I think there's little things here and there in the dry that we can change in the car, little bits in my driving as well. So hopefully tomorrow we can be in a good position, but we need to work as hard as we can and we'll see.
Nice. And yesterday you also had two sessions of dry testing. Can you take anything from that for tomorrow?
100%. They were also positive, not as positive as today, which is good because we're going in the right direction. But yeah, for sure we can take stuff from there that we've learned and apply all of that tomorrow, hopefully in qualifying.
Do you have any specific targets for this race weekend or the whole season?
My target is always to do the best I can possibly do because if I say put a position top five, top 10, I don't think there's or top three. I think it puts unnecessary pressure on a driver. So for myself, I want to say let's do the best I can possibly do, and that's all I can say.
Last year you were also here and the year before as well. I think it's your third season in Freca. And how was the race weekend back then?
Spa. I'm trying to remember. It was wet last year with one dry race, and then the year before dry. I think they were positive-ish. There was quite a lot to work on with my driving, so I've ironed those things out for this race, and hopefully we'll see a better result.
And maybe take us through how difficult it is from I mean, you started on wets and then the track was drying up, then you put on slicks. How hard is this transition and also this kind of feeling you have? I mean, you're as well faster, but I mean, there's the Eau Rouge, so you have to be very cautious to not yeah shunt it into the wall. So how is the transition? How difficult?
Yeah, 100%. You mentioned Eau Rouge, but my first lap on the slick tires flat. So I
Oh,
just committed to it, went flat, and trusted the car, the tires, and myself, and it was okay. Definitely a little bit sketchy as it was still damp and we're on slick tires. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, we're trying to. That's what our job is. You know, we have to adapt, we have to improve, and the changing conditions one amazing part of our sport that we have to do. So I think it's a really unique thing for motorsport. As for a driver, it's so different. But no, I think it's a really cool thing.
nice. And let's maybe look back in the past of your racing career. How did you become a racing driver, and maybe take us through your career till now?
Yeah, so like everyone, I started in go karts, but unlike everyone, I started very, very late. So I did 1 year in go karting when I was 12 years old, and then went straight into cars. And so I missed out a lot on the experience before, which I think has been quite a disadvantage for many years because I had no knowledge of motorsport. Let's say the inside world of motorsport, because I don't know if many people know, but when you're in motorsport, it's very different to how someone can see it from the outside. And it took many years to learn this. Then the driving, of course, takes effect, missing out so many years. But from there, progressed into cars, Formula 4, British Formula 3, and now here in Freca.
I've also heard this quote because like positioning your car in a 1 versus 1 and defending, attacking. This is quite good to have learned it in karting. So how did you caught up to this?
I'd say he's 100% correct. Learning it in karting is a really important thing because you get to cars and you can't really make, there's no room for mistakes,
Mhm.
let's say. But I mean, you just have to. Luckily, I had driver coaches helping me, and I had a really good team around me that was helping me, showing me other videos and things like this. That of course helps. But yeah, you also, some mistakes happen and things like this, you know, and you have to learn from those.
We talked specific about those like top 10. Not you, you're not doing that, but have you any um, like goal for the for this year being better than last year, for example, or do
Yeah,
you take it as it comes?
no, for sure. Like, you know, any championship, any race, any qualifying, I want to win,
Mhm.
and you want to win by a lot, but you also have to be realistic. But that doesn't also stop me wanting to win. You know, like I said before, I have to, as myself, do the best job I can do, and we see the results. But I will be pushing everything to hopefully put the car and myself in the best positions possible.
Nice. And what was your highlight of your career?
Um, so earlier, I did the Formula Oceania
Hmm.
Championship, which is this car in New Zealand, which I won the championship this year, which was really positive. And it's a really cool championship because there's so many drivers that have gone to Formula One, and it's quite a big thing. So I was very pleased with winning that. And there's some good races in the past in British Formula 3 and Formula 4. But I'd say that's the best thing to this day.
Nice. And I mean, it's not a secret that motorsport is quite expensive. And can you give us a little insight how you are financing this kind of season? I mean, you also mentioned it. You were starting down under in the in Australia or what? New Zealand.
New Zealand.
New Zealand, yeah. So also quite expensive, I would say.
100%. It's a real downside to motorsport, I have to say, is how expensive everything is. Um, it's a real shame, but I mean, luckily I have some great sponsors written on my car, and so they massively help. I have an extremely supportive family as well that sacrifice so much to give me the opportunity to be here. So there's lots of sacrifices made by my family and also sponsors that, in the end, really help and give me the opportunity to do something that I love.
Nice, very very nice. And I mean, you're also quite active on social media. And how much of a role does social media also play for kind of sponsors and for your also the future in your motorsport career?
I would say year by year, it's becoming more and more a need, you know? I mean, if you said 20 years ago, I don't think it would be as big as it is now. But no, every year it's becoming more and more important. And I think that's one thing I'm doing quite well. I've got a great social media team, and they do a really good job in helping me, and they're with me at the tracks. So this is really handy. So no, I think every year it gets more and more important.
Very good. And I mean, you've got only a few race weekends per year, and I mean, there's some quite of time in between those race weekends. And can you maybe tell us a little bit about the racing life off track?
So,
What are you doing?
I mean, the racing life off track, I wouldn't say is as good, or good's the wrong answer. I'd say isn't as glorified as it is on social media. I think there's so much training that goes into it. There's so much preparation. There's so much nerves, pressure that actually I think more destroy your life than make it a nice life outside of the track, which I also don't think is shown very much. But for sure, we're always wanting to perform the best we can here, and all of that happens from off the track. So it's just constant training, never stopping.
Are you still like in school at some point, or are you studying, or have you any kind of that currently, or?
No, so I was in school, and luckily the school was really good with doing racing school, and they were perfect. But now nothing, and just full focus on the racing.
Nice. That's also, I think, quite positive to really focus on
Yeah.
racing, right? You already mentioned pressure. How are you handling pressure? Because, as I said, you have only so few race weekends, and I think the pressure is quite high.
Yeah, definitely. Pressure is high when you have, uh, I mean, your dreams to be a Formula One world champion. You know there isn't lots of opportunities, and you know if you do get that one opportunity, you have to make it and you have to be there. So for sure, there's pressure all the time, and it's difficult to manage. To be honest, at some points it is difficult, but it's one of the things you have to learn to do in this sport. It's and all sports, to be honest, it's a huge thing.
Good. And do you have some kind of preparation mentally and physically before a race weekend or before a session?
So physically, of course, we're in the gym all the time before the race weekend, and then the week before is more like recovery sessions, light sessions, so we don't risk any injuries. Um, Mentally, I've got mental coaches that help me and keep me calm, keep me in the best position I can with my head, so I'm not overthinking anything, and I'm ready to perform and do the job I need to. And then before we get in the car, we've got a physical warm up to make sure we're perfectly warmed up, ready for the session, and mental as well. So different warm ups depending on the where you are in the week or the weekend.
Okay. Um, I mean, you already said that gym is a big factor in your life off track, but what can you also do to improve your on track performance off track?
So we've got the simulator, which is a massive part of motorsport because before we get on track, we've driven hundreds of laps on the simulator. So hopefully, when we get to the track, we're already at a very high standard. So that's very important. Um, and then the team behind you, my manager, my coaches, mental, physical coaches, all of these guys together combined just make a huge difference to the on-track performance.
Nice. Have you ever had a big crash, and how did you handle it?
Uh, Actually, in New Zealand, I had a big one where I flew over another car.
Okay.
And how I handled it, I probably shouldn't say on here because there was the awards night. It was the last race, and I was okay after when we got to the awards ceremony. So that it was okay, but without that, no. Usually, you just don't want to get too mental about it and be best prepared for the next day.
And what is it like in this moment? Because I can only imagine that being in the accident with those kind of pace you have. I would shit myself basically, and I can imagine that you may be a bit calmer than I would be.
I think, look, the safety in Formula cars and motorsport now is pretty good. I mean, you can see the whole car's made out of carbon fiber. The driver's equipment is crazy. You can really hit a wall at a high speed, and of course, we don't wish this on anyone, but as long as you take your hands off the wheel and just brace, you should be fine. You know. So of course it's gonna hurt. Of course it's scary when you see a wall coming to you, but it's the dangerous side of motorsport, and it's things that us as drivers have to prepare for, and it's one of the parts of this sport.
Okay, yeah, pretty interesting. I've got nothing left. It's only my wishes for you that you have a good race weekend from now on, and yeah, thank you for your time and all those interesting answers. So yeah, thank you very much.
Well,
Roman.
thank you very much for having me. I've really loved it.
Nice. Okay, bye guys. Cool.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.